The report card is in. And after 10 years, Chicago is no longer America's rattiest city. Take that, LA. I think we're talking mostly about rats on today's show.
Yeah, today's the Rat Show.
Today's the Rat Show.
Here we go.
Here we go. Welcome into the CHGO White Sox podcast, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. Ethan, the podcast has now started. Sorry you had to wait there for a second, but, my home is, I guess I was evicted from Studio B. There is no more podcast equipment in Studio B. I hear it's currently in the Chicago River.
I walked in there earlier, and it was like that Will Smith gif, and you were just standing there, kind of like looking around with your hands in your pockets, being like, what has happened?
Kicking dirt. I'm like, man.
Kicking dirt.
Kicking dirt.
Hey, we're moving on up. Studio A, baby.
Here's one trope that has really gone away. People were dirtier. There was more dirt in the world. Has dirt been eliminated? We're getting rid of rats here in Chicago, mainly because of weather. Really, I mean, truly, if you want to know why LA is now the rattiest city, Joey, you want to take a guess?
The weather?
The weather. It's warmer. The rats have just turned on to what everyone else turned on to, like in the 50s and 60s, like, oh, let's just go live where it's nice every year or every time of the year. So rats are, now going to be taking up Los Angeles, and then they'll move to San Francisco, and then they'll take up San Diego, Santa Monica, etc. This is not why you called. Welcome into the CHGO White Sox podcast. Appreciate Colton, appreciate Ethan, appreciate Ashley for hanging out with us. Hit a thumbs up if you'd be so kind. On today's show, we'll be giving out report cards to Colson Montgomery. Mostly good things. Don't worry too much. I actually found some stuff that even surprised me that I feel even like, I don't even know if his grade should be this low. We'll talk about Colson Montgomery and his grades. We will also be talking about Sam Antonacci. He was named as a hot prospect in the AFL. We will also talk about a Pope gift. The Pope was given a gift. He wasn't too happy. We'll also talk about how I think Game 3 sucked last night. And then we'll talk and lead off with Sherman Johnson. You might be asking, who's Sherman Johnson? Joey.
Who's Sherman Johnson?
I know you're asking this because you just produced a bull show and your mind wasn't on Sherman Johnson. Do you even know who Sherman Johnson is? You want to take a guess? Educated guess.
Sounds either like a politician, a right-handed pitcher, or someone that invented something in 1909.
Okay, so you were wrong on all three of them. You probably honestly would have been better off just guessing pitcher, hitter, coach, and two of those three would have been right. He is now a part of the White Sox organization. Yes. Minor league hitting coordinator. Yes. Sherman Johnson. He's 35 years old. He played for the Angels in 2018. He's, again, 35. His career ended in 2022 when he was with the Kane County Cougars. In 90 games with the Kane County Cougars, he slashed .231, .385, and .416. Yes. He was also with the Cougars before that as well. In 2021, he got signed by the Twins and then played AA and AAA for the Twins in 2021. Again, this is not why he called about Sherman Johnson. After his playing career, he went on to coaching. And Sox on 35th wrote an article about Sherman where I learned this, and I just want to include this piece. He was looking for, his next route to get into coaching, and he was in a MLB diversity pipeline for coaches and scouts. Tyrone Brooks, shout out to him, is what Sherman Johnson said, and Bobby Scales and Bo Porter hooked me up with that. So I was in that program, And one of the guys that was coaching there, Nick Wilson, was with the Rockies. And I didn't know Nick, but we have a lot of mutual friends. So we were chopping it up. And he was like, hey, man, you just got done playing. What do you think about hitting? What do you think about people train, et cetera, et cetera? And he's not very shy. Sherman says, I'm not very shy. So I started telling him. And then he was telling Nick Wilson, the Rays brass was listening in the room. And they filtered in and they were listening. And he didn't notice that the Rays were there until he looked up. But after he had that conversation, the Rays called him and were wondering what he was doing. He already agreed to become a coach with Baltimore. And even though the Rays wanted him, he was like, oh, I got to be true to Baltimore. So that's how he ends up with Baltimore, works with Ryan Fuller. He worked from being in AA Bowie as their hitting coach to then promoted twice. In 2023, he was the Bowie hitting coach. But then he got promoted to the upper level hitting coordinator. And then while continuing that in 2025, he earned a spot on the major league staff as assistant hitting coach. So this is not the Sox next hitting coach. They still have to figure out that. But now Sherman Johnson, former infielder, former FSU baseball player, might give you flashbacks to Pedro Grifol. Way different eras, right? Don't worry. One guy was worried about George Brett. I don't even think Sherman Johnson knows who George Brett is. Well, he does, but you know what I'm saying. Sherman now going to be a part of the organization. So I just like that he got promoted in an organization that was sort of cutting edge. I know the Orioles took a step back, but did they take a step back because Ryan Fuller wasn't there? Because the White Sox took a step forward because Ryan Fuller was here. So I wonder how much the Ryan Fuller effect is real. They dealt with injuries as well, but it's good to see that Ryan Fuller is continuing those relationships. And I also like that Sherman Johnson was a part of a good Orioles squad, and then the Rays even wanted him, and now the Sox are getting him. Like the Orioles, Rays, that's good. He didn't come from the Rockies. He didn't come from the Royals, who had success 10 years ago, right? Coming from the smart AL East. Let's get these coastal elites like Sherman Johnson.
Coastal elites. Well, that's what I like to hear about it. Like, you know what I like hearing about this, and Sox fans should feel the same? You know what the Sox are interested in right now? Brains.
A little bit of brawn.
A little bit of brawn.
But
sure. But brains.
And
they're getting super into brains right now. And for this Halloween week, I'm on board.
But here's, again, the thing, though. They want the brawn. Sherman Johnson, former player. Every one of these guys that they're bringing in has some sort of professional playing experience. Sherman, obviously not at the highest level. He did reach with the Angels in 2018, but he knows the grind of being a minor leaguer for 11 years. So a great person to put into that position. He's going to be able to relate to a ton of minor leaguers. That's why he's going to just be running the show under Ryan Fuller and trying to get to, you know, all of those levels. I think what we saw with Ryan Fuller was he was making trips to Kannapolis to help George Wolkow. And then he was going to Arizona to help Colson Montgomery. And then he would be in Chicago to help Colson Montgomery. Now you have the ability to have Sherman Johnson be that branch of Ryan Fuller. The White Sox are moving on up, folks. I hate to say it. We always talked about the underbelly and how it's not sexy, but at least the White Sox belly is getting fatter. Okay? This was a very tiny, tiny skeleton of an organization, and we just want smarter people. Flash it, Joey. It doesn't matter.
I was going to say, I was just looking through our graphics, and you mentioned big bellies, and bellies. This is what's going down.
This is what I want, right?
This is what's happening.
Give me 5 rows to myself, okay? Keep the beers coming.
Take my pants off.
Did I put sunblock on? I don't even know what that is. SPF 35, SPF 70. Miss me with that. I want to just have my toes out at the game.
I like to imagine that these two guys, like the dude on the top runs a construction company and the other dude is either his apprentice or his right-hand man. And as a gift, after completing a job, he got him Sox tickets, but they ain't sitting together.
No. And that car ride was silent.
Oh, car ride.
They drove together.
Very, very
silent. Save on parking.
Yeah.
No, silent. Maybe a light radio station.
Can we put the air conditioning down? No. Just roll your windows down.
Well, I like that even better. The air conditioner's off and the windows are rolled up.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it's kind of more of that scenario where you just don't want to touch someone else's things.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, if they're not hot, I shouldn't be hot. I guess that's just me not being
97 won the drive, like they're listening, and like Bruce Springsteen comes on, and the younger dude's like, pretty good song. And then the other guy goes, Bruce sucks. And you're like, what? Silence.
Again, that's way too much talking though. I think this is a dead silent car ride. Okay, we veered off from that. Sherman Johnson, welcome to the club. We're excited for you. All right, let's get into Colson Montgomery. We got some fun stats for you. We'll talk about him offensively, defensively, and then give him an overall grade. We got some chat already. Randy said Montgomery had a good rookie season. Hope he continues to stay healthy in 2026 and the next few years. And Randy also adds 30 to 40 homers for Colson Montgomery in 2026. You hope if he just hits the same amount as he did in 2025, I won't be upset. I'm very surprised with how many he hit. We'll talk about the replication of it or the replicability of it in a second. But then Ashley asked, is Colson's report card changed if he got the team home run record? I guess. Let's flash it. I gave him an A- on offense. I gave him an A- for defense. And I gave him an A+ overall.
Can you get any higher?
We'll talk about why 2 A- add up to an A+, because that math doesn't work out. You talked about it as like Madden ratings, right? So this would be a 93 for Colson on offense and 93 on defense. But at the end of the day, I didn't expect him to have an A-. I didn't expect him to have an A-. Like, this wasn't a kid that we thought would show up to school. Like, this kid had a sickness, an illness, and we were worried about him. We just wanted to see him in class. And not only was he in class, but he was the brightest of the bunch. And I just want to give him an A+ because even though he got a 93 on the test, he was the first to turn it in, right? And he signed his name with such veracity that we just got to give it up to Colson Montgomery.
You're giving him an A on the paper, but you're also adding a cool comment like, keep up the great work,
right?
Or
like,
love to see it.
Yeah,
great. Now we're talking.
Right. So yeah, that's Colson. I mean, it's Chris N says, wow, great grades. It's what else do you give the kid? He had a 130 OPS plus. He had 21 homers. He had a 3.3 WAR. I talked about this throughout the season. We've been around CHGO, and hold on, let me log into StatHead because I don't have this at the top of my head, and I want to make sure because it always confuses me every single time we have it. CHGO launched in 2022. I think Colson Montgomery had the 4th best season since 2022 B-WAR wise, behind Abreu in 2022, Robert in 2023, and then I think TA in 2022. There's nothing else that I could give him. He was above average defensively. He was above average offensively. He did it in half a season. What the hell do I else? I mean, Joey, am I wrong?
No.
TS says A+ or A- plus A- equals A+. Laughing. I don't get it either. But I feel bad giving him anything but an A+. Way to go out there and get a kid. He wanted to be a major leaguer so bad that he just sucked in AAA. His way of making it to the major leagues was, I'm going to be so terrible, I'm going to be so toxic that you have no reason and no opportunity but promote me. And here you go. Here's 20 homers, middle finger, shooting guns out of the finger guns out of the way. Like, you play Jake Amaya over me, I'm going to make this hurt.
Yeah, I actually really like that comment from T. Opposed to math.
No.
You're 100% right.
None of this makes sense.
Everything that we talked about in the segments that you did to start the season with him on the backfields with the back injury, and then they sent him back to Arizona, and then he comes back. And honestly, I mean, his minor league numbers didn't really jump out to you. He did see improvement, but it wasn't like, oh, man, this guy's scorching hot. Here he comes. The call-up was more of like a fait accompli because they wanted him to win the job right out of spring training. So they brought him up, and from the jump, the dude looked like and played like a major league player and a guy who could potentially be a future all-star. The math simply didn't math. So yeah, A- plus A- equals A+ for Colson Montgomery.
We had a diehard, Jared CWS, that was consistently tracking Colson's homers and the amount of homers and damage he did against velocity. That was the biggest worry that we had about Colson Montgomery in his minor leagues, because obviously the numbers were bad, yes, but against 95-plus pitching, 163 average, not great, 260 on base percentage, but a 419 slugging percentage. 3 of his homers came against upper-tier velocity, and I think the biggest thing was the whiff rate wasn't that terrible. at the end of the day, he also just made it work. He crushed everything that was thrown at him. A 25% whiff rate against high velocity. I think it was around 40% in AAA. So that was the biggest jump that we saw, and that needs to be better. I mean, you saw last night against the Blue Jays, like, they couldn't hit 99 when they took out Kirk, Springer, etc., and they were just against fastballless hitters or the hitters without the ability to hit fastballs. Colson at least was able to fight them off, and when he got his pitch, he was able to do damage. If he got a fastball that was like around 94, he was still able to do damage. So very, very impressed with what he's done so far. We have to take a break. I'll talk a little bit about Colson. We have some stats that we have to get into, both offensively and defensively, to paint the A- plus A- equals A+, here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We want to let you know about our friends over at Bet365. Bet365 is the place to be betting on football. Because why? We are currently in the midst of 49 straight days of football. Tonight, Kennesaw State plays, folks. Yeah. UTEP plays. Texas State plays.
Tell me more.
James Madison plays. I like the unders because, hey, these Tuesday games, they typically go to the under, but that's your money to decide with. Check out all their great offers over at Bet365. When you first sign up and you make your first bet of $5, you get $200 in bonus bets, whether that bet of $5 wins or loses. And the NFL's offers throughout the season. Thursday night, you got a $10 safety net bet on a same-game parlay. On Sunday night, there's a $365,000 jackpot of bonus bets to be shared. And on Monday night, there's a 50% super boost profit token on same-game parlays. And typically, there's been 2 Monday night games every night, so you could have double the fun on Monday night with our friends over at Bet365. There's also some great NHL and NBA offers going on. You must be 21 plus. If you or someone who has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral service can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only. Sign up with code CHGO365. Place that bet of $5 to get $200 in bonus bets with our friends over at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Four Seasons for all the right reasons. Call 866
Four Seasons.
4 Seasons. Winter will be here before you know it. I still need to take out my AC from my windows. But is your home's heating up for the challenge? If not, call our friends over at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. If you've got a plumbing emergency, call Four Seasons. An electrical emergency, call Four Seasons. If you need a new hot water tank installed today, call Four Seasons. Now is the time to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. And if you're thinking about a whole home generator, they have you covered. At Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs with no extra charges for nights, weekends, or holidays. You know the jingle. For all the right reasons, call 866 Four Seasons. Four Seasons Heating, Electric, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. Welcome back to the CHGO podcast. If you are here, hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate you hanging out. If you do have any thoughts on Colson Montgomery, let us know. Can we go to some of the graphs I made here? To go into Colson's positives on offense, power and bat speed. That is the one thing that stood out consistently for Colson Montgomery. And not friend of the show because I haven't had him on, but want to have him on. I guess admirer from the far, Robert Orr of Baseball Prospectus has this Shiny app. I don't know what the hell to explain that to people that don't know what that is. But it's pretty much his own like custom leaderboard with custom stats. We've talked about his stat Seeger before. The ability of a hitter to swing at pitches inside the zone and lay off pitches outside the zone. Corey Seager is the leader in that stat. He stands out as the highest of it. That's why it's named after him. We have some stats from Robert Orr's Shiny app to show how Colson is in the upper echelon of damage. Can we go to that graph here, Joey? This is batters that are in the 85th percentile of damage per batted ball event. I can't read it. I'm sorry, Joey. Can you flash it on the screen? Max exit velocity, 90th percentile exit velocity, and pulled fly ball percentage in 2025. So that means when they are having a batted ball event, They have the largest amount of damage. Joey, you got to move that. Yeah, you got to. I made it the right way. What are you doing right now?
Oh, I thought I needed a background.
Oh,
it looks.
Isn't it on the background? Okay, whatever. I shared one with the background. Anyways, it's on the other computer. It's already made. Sorry, folks. We'll cut this out. Hitters in the 85 percentile. No wonder they put us on a fast channel. Hitters in the 85 percentile of damage per batted ball event, max exit velocity, 90th percentile exit velocity, and pulled ball fly ball percentage. Damage per batted ball event, he's in the 90th percentile. Max exit velocity is in the 90th percentile. In 90th percentile exit velocity, he's in the 90th percentile. And pull fly ball percentage, he's in the 90th percentile. The only hitters with Colson Montgomery are Cal Raleigh, Dalton Varsho, Ben Rice, Shea Langoliers, Byron Buxton, Matt Wallner, Kyle Schwarber, and Zach Cole. Those are the players that are in the 85th percentile of all 4 of those categories. Only Schwarber and Montgomery are in the 90th percentile of all 4 of those categories. So they are pulling their fly balls. If they're hitting fly balls, they are pulled. When you look at their just 90th percentile of their exit velocities, so if it was on a scale from 1 to 100, only the exit velocities in the 90th percentile, they are in the 90th percentile of the 90th percentile. Max exit velocity, that I feel is self-explanatory. Like, his hardest ball hit is in the 90th percentile of all major league hitters. And then damage per batted ball event, when he is hitting the ball, when he is putting the ball in play, how much damage are you creating? Like, those are the 4 stats that we're talking about. He is in a field of only himself and Kyle Schwarber. When you see 21 homers in 255 at-bats, it is in a way replicable. If he has 500 at-bats with that similar data, he could hit 40 homers. Kyle Schwarber does it all the time. Kyle Schwarber
56.
Yeah, Kyle Schwarber walks a ton, and it took a long time for Kyle Schwarber to get there. It took a long time for Kyle Schwarber to really hone in on that discipline and then also learn to truly damage high fastballs. And I think that could be Colson's plight. But what you are seeing is an upper echelon athlete. I'm worried about his back. That was the biggest concern about Colson and why most people in the industry came off of Colson Montgomery. I'm not in the industry. I'm just saying prospect people who dropped him from the top 100 lists. It was worries about the back. He wasn't able to beat out Jacob Amaya in spring training because he was only able to play 3 spring training games because of his back. I don't think it's out of the possibility that he could have 40 homers. I think that you could set the line next year at 24.5 because I think he does easily have 25 power homer or 25 homer power potential. He showed it off. If you gave him 15 more games, he might have hit 25 homers. I don't think this was a fluke. Most of those guys on the list are household names. I think Zach Cole, and then who else is on that? Matt Wallner. I guess Matt Wallner's not like household. He's an AL Central name. Joey, can you flash the list just one more time? Sorry. But the only one that's maybe not is, I guess, Shea Langoliers, but he was a first-round pick. Dalton Varsho's in the World Series. Cal Raleigh could possibly be the AL MVP. Ben Rice is New York's first baseman. Wallner is tops in Major League Baseball every single year in max exit velocity. And then Byron Buxton, when healthy, is an MVP candidate. Kyle Schwarber hit 56 homers. Like, he's a really good category here. Like, I this is one of the more jaw-dropping stats that I've found for Colson. It's not the 3.3 WAR and being a top 4 player since CHGO started, or the streaks of homers that he went on, being along with like Zeke Bonura and Jose Abreu as rookies with power. He was just so consistently the best athlete on the field, and that's what we wanted to see from Colson Montgomery. It was a rocky road to get here, but smooth sailing. I guess that doesn't work.
What, a rocky road to a smooth sail?
Yeah, because that's kind of like a car/wagon thing. to a boat thing.
Think East Coast Atlantic Ocean. You got to drive on a rocky road to get to a pebbled shore into a boat that then creates smooth sailing.
I guess this is too white sweater for me. This is too Nantucket.
You should take off your hoodie and wrap it around your shoulders, and I think you'll then it'll lock in.
I have no shirt under this sweatshirt, so we're not going to do that. If I did, maybe. Let's get into some defensive stuff for Colson Montgomery. I did give him an A- after all. I was surprised with Colson's stats as a defender. Do you have both of the? Okay, so let's start with this one because this one at least has a background. Oh, you have this one. Okay, so you actually put a background on this one, right? So let's start with the other one first. Colson, his range, outs above average, 92 percentile in Major League Baseball, and that's at the shortstop position. Again, when his WAR is 3.3 on Baseball Reference and Fangraphs, it's a 2.7. This is no fluke. When we look at defensive run saved, he's a 7. When we look at fielding run value, he's a 6. He graded out well on every single metric. I know typically range is better for outfield defenders, but even with DRS, he's still a 7. This was above average shortstop play from this rookie, and I did not expect this at the shortstop position. That was more like he could play shortstop, but you're really putting him at shortstop because he can hit 20 homers. It's not you're putting him at shortstop because he is, I don't want to say Gold Glover, but again, above average. When you look at these roles, when you look at the balls that he had to make plays on, there are 88 plays on balls towards the shortstop and third base hole, 3 outs above average. When he was shaded towards the second base bag, he made 71 plays on that, 1 outs above average. Straight up, 32 attempts, 2 outs above average. When he was up the middle, 4 attempts, 0 outs above average. He never had a negative role. When he was asked to do something, he did it well. He did struggle moving laterally to first base and was better laterally to third base. But outside of that, his arm was above average. I think for a shortstop, it was 82.1 miles per hour. And I really never worried too much about his arm. And the one thing that I found interesting was his shading of defense. If you want to flash this next one, Joey, he had the shortest depth when it came to shortstop fielding position. The average depth was 147 feet, and Colson, on players that had 500 attempts or played over 500 plate appearances at shortstop, he had the lowest starting distance. This is where Javi Baez used to consistently line up. There wasn't like consistency of players playing this short since like 2022. I think most players have backed up. I don't really necessarily know what this means. I just found it interesting that this large athlete is playing so close to the action, closer than any other of his peers. I mean, J.P. Crawford's the only person that's kind of close to him. Jacob Wilson also. And he's having this much success. I really think that this is a credit to his reaction time and his ability to move so fluently, because it really never felt like he was running to a ball. It really never felt like he had to dive to a ball. It feels in a way like Luis Robert Jr. does. He uses every single aspect of that 6'4" frame. He is able to use his ability of length, and it's a stride. It's a gentle stride, and it's very smooth at the shortstop position. I should give him an A+. I don't want to be too much of a homer. I guess I'm giving an A+ overall. Like, there's really no notes. Yeah, like I'd like him to be more disciplined and hit less pop-ups and more line drives. That's it.
The depth is fascinating to me, and hopefully we can ask Dad, Gene Watson, when we have him hopefully on the show in the offseason, because I think like conventional wisdom would be like, guys will play at a shorter depth, and you saw like Jack Wilson on there, whatever, because maybe they don't think they have the arm strength to maybe play it a little bit deeper in the hole, but that's certainly not the case with Colson. He definitely 1,000% has the arm strength. So now I'm thinking, is he also playing at that depth because then he can work mostly, as you said, through instinct and reaction time, and maybe not have to worry about covering as much ground laterally, which maybe has given him problems either with his hip or his back. Or maybe this is just how Colson likes to play. Or it could also be a rookie just saying, maybe I don't know home to first on every single player, so this gives me an advantage to maybe be a half step ahead so I don't have to always, get up on the transfer and get it over to first. Like, I'm not saying that I know the answer, but there's a lot of different ways for reasons why this could be, and I'm curious to see if this either evolves or stays the same next season.
And I'm just looking up arm strength just to make sure that I'm not talking out my behind when it comes to, because
I test. We think he's got the arm strength.
Also, Baez wasn't playing short because he didn't have an arm.
Correct.
Like Javi had an arm. So that's why I'm like a little bit confused. It's not like a Mason Wynn arm where he's throwing 90 miles per hour from the shortstop position. His arm strength's 30th when it comes to players with 100 throws. So it's like middle of the pack. He's around where Trey Turner, Bo Bichette, Trevor Story, C.J. Abrams, Jeremy Pena, Mookie Betts are behind him. So Lindor's even behind him.
Yeah, capable. Incredibly capable.
My draw's at 331 throws, and he's at 80 miles per hour, or 80.7. And Colson is 82.1. So I think that kind of explains the depth where that 2 miles comes in to handy, where Colson could play third base. I think we did learn that he really shouldn't. I think he is a shortstop. Yeah, I mean, overall, I as long as he's healthy, we should see this in 2026. I'm excited. You should be excited. Let's take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We want to let you know about our friends over at Shady Rays. If you are looking for the sunglasses to save you not only money, but also save you time and hassle, Shady Rays is the place to go. They make the top-notch sunglasses out there. I've had 3 pairs myself. I am a very accident-prone person. I am a very forgetful person. I knew not to lose those. I really wasn't even that careful with them, and they never broke. These are fairly indestructible. I don't know if they claim that, but I could claim that.
Well,
fairly indestructible.
But if you lose them, they replace them.
Right.
That's the gig.
If you lose or break them, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trips, just replacements, and they are top notch. They are polarized, well built, quality sunglasses, and we have a deal with you. We teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And again, not only are they built well, but they are like, when you go buy $5 sunglasses on one of those spinning rotators, they're not polarized. Like, these are,
and they're ugly.
Worth the price.
They're
folks.
Ugly. You buy $5 sunglasses because you know you're going to lose them, and they're ugly. These ones are good looking, and they will replace them.
And truly, like I could not break them, and I break everything. Let's move on to Game Time. It is the place that if you're looking for a Hawks game, a Bulls game, a concert, a theater event, a stand-up show. Stand-up show? I mean, Chris Fleming was doing a whole stand-up special.
Nate Bargatze, John Mulaney at Wrigley Field next year. A lot of shows.
That's weird. Nate's at Wrigley with him?
No, Nate Bargatze just did the UC. Cool. You did the United Center, and Mulaney's next year.
Mulaney's fine.
I was trying to do a sports thing.
The Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experience in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust. You'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. This was my go-to for the White Sox season. The hack was waiting right up to game time, right before show curtain time, and getting the lowest price possible. You could get White Sox tickets for like $3 this year. It is the app to use. You can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, because if you're deciding between 4 seats, you want to get the best view, you could do that all in the app. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL, NBA, NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account. Use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Aiden says, I would say a B in my opinion. Everyone's, allowed to have their opinion. I really am not going to nitpick a player that I feel like I nitpicked a ton. A player that didn't have the actual production that we wanted in the minor leagues, that obviously didn't have the health that you want for your elite athletes. But when it came to, I believe it's called nut crunching time, Joey. I believe that's the official term. He had 21 homers. He had a 130 OPS plus. He was an above average defender. Not really a speed threat, but also like if he's not getting hurt on the bases, sliding into second and like jamming his finger, I'm cool with it. You know, like he looked aggressive when he needed to advance from like first to third, but nothing that was like game breaking. An apt athlete.
Yeah, I hope Aiden responds with why he put a B in there because I'm just kind of curious. My question for you is, if possible, can you go into your mind palace and go back to 2022? Do you remember back then when Colson was kind of racing up the prospect rankings? Do you remember just kind of what your feeling, what your emotion, what your expectation was back then? And has it met it or has it exceeded what he did in the second half of this year?
Because
I don't honestly.
That's the thing is like when he was first drafted, I think people were excited that the White Sox were going with a prep player. It was their first prep player drafted since Courtney Hawkins, I believe, because I think he was before Schultz. So he's the first prep player taken before Courtney Hawkins in the 13 draft. So it was finally the White Sox getting hip to the rest of Major League Baseball and saying, we need to take a shot on some of these players that have the ability to grow in the 4 years until they're ready to be a pro, like where their college years are, but like let's make sure that we're fine-tuning them and developing them in a major league way. The White Sox were afraid of that. They wanted the polished product coming out of the first round because they thought, oh, let's get a guy that we could plug and play because our minor leagues aren't worth anything.
Well, they started like kind of like smelling their own stuff a little bit, right? Because they graduated a couple guys super early. Like, remember, just like the Burleys would come up right away, and then Chris Sale came up right away, and then they got a little ahead of themselves. I understand pitcher versus position player, but they definitely got like, well, we're in the business of when we draft guys, they could be up with us like by the end of that first year, and maybe that kind of skewed maybe how they thought about higher draft picks at the time.
Right. So Mike Shirley came in and changed their thinking. I think his first draft was 2019 or 2020, and that was Crochet. Good pick.
Good work.
And then 2021 is where we see the first prep player, and then that would lead to Schultz, where Shirley himself felt like he had an advantage over Major League Baseball on the Midwest. He felt that Colson Montgomery was hiding in Indiana, and they were able to get him at 22nd, I believe, or whatever, and he thought Noah Schultz, with COVID, with everything that's going on, he was hiding out in Illinois playing professional ball against, like 30-year-olds and dominating. He felt like they had the edge to where these not only were first-round players, but they could probably get them for like under bonus-ish. I forget what they paid for him, but they got 2 top 40 prospects from those 2 selections, exactly what the White Sox weren't getting from their past performances. I mean, Rodon was a top prospect, but neither here nor there. Like, it wasn't a really well thought out process that was hitting with like Zach Collins's. But Colson, like, if you want to compare him to like a Zach Collins, Colson and Zach Collins never did this. Like, if you ask me in 2022, will Colson ever have a better season than, like, war-wise than Tim? I'd probably say no. And he did. I don't think Tim ever put up a 3.3.
See, that's what I remember is that when
Tim put up a 4.2 and a 4.5.
Yeah.
And a 3.9. So, but like, when I never thought that he would be, like, Tim felt like a real surprise.
Well, right, because he remade his career, right? I mean, he was a light hitting shortstop who wasn't a very good shortstop without a great average, or not great bat to ball skills, and then he became an elite for those 3 years, an elite bat to ball skill player, and was competing for batting titles and was hitting over 300. I just remember in 2021, 2022 was, should we extend Tim Anderson? Is he the face of the White Sox? Is he the face of the American League? Yeah, baseball, the Field of Dreams game, all that stuff, change the game, all that. And we were saying to ourselves, should we give him a huge extension? I remember the conversation was, well, Colson Montgomery is coming. What do you do with that? And I think some people thought that Colson could be a fringe all-star. I will say from my seat, what I saw from him in the second half easily has met the expectation of what I think the thought process was in 2022, and he has an opportunity to easily exceed it next year with what I saw from him in the second half.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, like my thoughts in 2022, I think, are not relevant because of the journey between 2022 to 2025. Like, he was a near top 10 prospect and then fell completely out of the top 100. Like, what are fans supposed to do when that happens? Especially this fan base. This fan base that's been tortured by every single prospect. So when he gets taken off by the entire industry of top 100 lists, my expectations are going to change. Because I don't want to be a homer meatball that's going to be like, now Colson's going to have 40 homers and play above average shortstop.
But in 22,
he's going to be the
people
third.
thought that. In 22.
Well, yeah, because he's a little kid.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, you just drafted him. You don't want to be like, oh, this kid's going to suck. Well, like, yeah, let him at least reach AA before you say he's going to suck. Like, that's my whole thing with Wilkow. It's like, yeah, Wilkow's 6'7". I don't know.
See, I do that.
He'd be fun.
I do that both ways. Like, when a kid gets drafted, I don't say, like, give him a few years to see if he's going to suck. I also say give him a few years to see if he's any good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, these kids deserve to, like, develop. And
I mean, I needed to see if Mike Shirley was worth his weight before Colson Montgomery. And it took a bit for Garrett Crochet to hit. Yeah, it took a bit for Colson Montgomery to hit.
And this is instructive for, like, Billy Carlson.
It's instructive for
Caleb
Noah
Bonnemer.
Schultz.
And, yeah, a lot of guys.
For Schultz.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're worried about Noah Schultz, and this is a guy that was, you know, fringing on a top 20 pitcher and is now sliding down to, like, the 40s or so, should you be worried? I don't know. Not really. Because he wasn't using his best pitch at AAA. Because he clearly is one of the weirdest pitchers in Major League Baseball history. There's like 11 pitchers that have ever been over 6'10". He's one of them. There was one that's thrown over 1,000 innings in their career, or two. It's Chris Young and Randy Johnson. So he's either going to be, you know, one
awesome
of the
for
other
1 season
20,
or awesome for 20.
He's either going to be terrible, never make it to the major leagues, he's going to be a decent player, or he's going to be the greatest pitcher of all time. Like, there's really no in between. And I really feel like that could be the Colson flip, where Noah finally gets to use his best pitch, and they finally take off the training wheels, and they feel like his mechanics are in the right spot. And then what the hell do you do when 6'10" is coming at you? And I understand that, you know, minor league stats are minor league stats, but look at Jacob Mizorowski. Mizorowski was, like, interesting. People knew of Mizorowski, but his minor league stats weren't like the Miz when he first came up. It was more like second half Miz, where he started to struggle a little bit with control. But when he first came up, major league hitters had no idea what to do. Named an all-star for zero reason. That could be Noah Schultz. If he's 6'10", going out there with a 94-mile-per-hour cutter.
Arms and legs and just heat.
Right, and like this nasty demonic slider and getting an insane amount of like traction on the internet, he easily could be an all-star. So like, I don't think that expectations are fair. There's, you know, the whole idea of like touting like, oh, I called that. Like, no one cares. Like I saw somebody being like, can't wait to say to my children, like, Shohei Ohtani is the greatest baseball player of my life. It's like, what else are you going to say? Duh. Like, there isn't even a conversation anymore. Like, that's why people are like hate LeBron so much or love LeBron so much, because they either think he's the greatest player of all time, or they love Michael Jordan so much that they have to hate LeBron James, that these two cannot coexist.
Which I hate personally, right? Because then you deprive yourself of enjoying the top 5, 7, 8, whatever the number is. He's easily one of the greatest players of all time, but he's not the greatest of a player of all time. And that's okay. Those are two separate things. You can enjoy them both at the same time.
White Sox fans should just enjoy it. Like, no one was expecting 20 homers when he got called up in July. Like, just, you were producing my shows.
Yeah.
Did I ever say Colson Montgomery's going to hit 20 homers and his 255 at-bats?
Well, and not even that. It was like when he hit them, too. And the consistency with which he hit
After
them.
the All-Star break, he was just like, yep, I'm going to start hitting homers.
And he came up with huge hits,
fun.
man. Like a lot of those homers, like I just keep going back to the one in Colorado, right? Like what was that in like the 7th or 8th inning or something like that?
It wasn't even a homer. It was a triple.
Oh, yeah, that was a bases loaded triple. Oh, yeah, we thought it was a homer, remember? Because you actually, speaking of calling it, and I told you so, you actually did say he was going to go yard on that pitch. And he came like 4 feet away from hitting a grand slam at that particular time. But I just go back to that and like, I don't know, hitting the ball hard in the air in big moments.
Mm-hmm.
He did it really consistently.
Right.
And again, we've done it a lot on this show, but like he never seemed overmatched, or he never really seemed like he threw too many at bats away. And that's so impressive for a young kid, because sometimes they go up there with a plan and that plan works, but the other time they're waving at stuff and they're like sitting down after 4 pitches and you're like, oh, that wasn't great. But Colson really never got cheated, I felt like, too often, or overmatched in a lot of these games, and that was impressive too.
Right, and you know, truly, post All-Star break, he really, even like end of the season, he started drawing walks more. It wasn't even all about the homer. So it seemed like he matured a little bit throughout the season. But yeah, I think if you go to our first thoughts on Colson Montgomery on this podcast, like, I think we kind of laughed and were miffed at the Corey Seager thing. This year, he kind of proved that he could be Corey Seager.
Oh, yeah, we were like
it might not be like...
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here with the Corey Seager factor. But a lot of those things... A lot of those things came through. And obviously, what we talked about, it hit tools a little bit different. Corey Seager is going to give you a little bit more of a higher average. But in terms of run production, hitting the ball hard, home runs, it was a facsimile.
But for a rookie with this coaching, hopefully Ryan Fuller can help him swing at more strikes in the zone. And when you look at a Seager percentage, like compared to Major League Baseball, his percentile, he's 66th percentile. He's above average when it comes to hitting it more pitch or swinging at more pitches inside the zone than outside the zone. So if that number goes up, probably gets on base more, probably walks more because he's swinging at less bad pitches, probably hits more homers. Like if he hits 40 homers, we're not even talking about Corey Seager. We're talking about Alex Rodriguez stuff.
Junior Caminero.
He's third base.
I know,
he's
but like
shortstop.
I know.
Like who are they? Who are the shortstops that hit 40? I think it's
these days.
A-Rod, I think Ernie Banks did it, right?
Oh, like ever?
Yeah. Also,
okay.
Colson, the third best player since CHGO start. Abreu 4.3 WAR in 2022. This is B WAR. Robert 5.3 WAR in 2023. Montgomery third 3.3 B WAR in 71 games.
So shortstops with 40 home runs. I'm gonna guess like in the ballpark. I'm gonna say Miguel Tejada, Alex Rodriguez. I think Trevor Story did get close on the Rockies one year. Maybe not 40, but I feel like he got to like 36 or something along those lines. And then, you know, man, after that honestly could be the list.
Let's see.
Obviously, Javi Baez did get close. I think he got 34, 35 one year at shortstop.
A-Rod 57, A-Rod 52, Ernie 47, A-Rod 47, Ernie 45, Ernie 45, A-Rod 42, A-Rod 42, Ernie 41.
Ernie Banks was good.
A-Rod 41, and Rico Petrocelli with
Excuse me?
40. Rico Petrocelli.
Those are the only ones with 40?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's just Ernie Banks, Alex Rodriguez, and then I'll tell you what, Rico Petrocelli. Yes. The one year he hit 40 home runs in 1969. He was the best damn baseball player I ever seen.
TW.
Yeah. Hey. Put it on the board. Yes. Rico Petrocelli had 40, 29, and 28 after he hit 40 at 26. So, hey, maybe we do have more pop if he's a Rico Petrocelli type.
Next show.
Yeah. Somehow I didn't talk about any of the things I wanted to talk about. I still have...
Save it. We're back tomorrow.
I still have a lot to talk about. Yeah, we think we have a guest tomorrow as well. So
is it the Pope?
It's not the Pope. It should be BZ, who is kind of the Pope. We'll
we
talk
love
to
BZ.
Him tomorrow on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We'll talk about the Pope. I have the Pope stuff. I have Sam Antonacci stuff I could talk about. I could even tell Jim Bowden how big of a stupid moron he is. But we'll wait until tomorrow. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.